Screenless. Hello and welcome to the last Creative Cuppa episode of 2020. I have to admit it's been one of the few wonderful experiences this year, and so thank you so much to my guests for keeping me connected to the outside world. You have been amazing, and thank you for listening. Yes, you know who you are. Enjoy your cuppa. Speaking of which, the final chat of this first season may have involved something a little stronger. Well, it's Christmas, isn't it? And it was recorded in the evening, promise. I've known Joe for 8 years or so. I scored a short film of his, which is how we met. So it was really nice to catch up with him about his acting career. Got a cuppa ready? Here we go. Joe Riley, actor, welcome to Creative Cuppa.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Has indeed. All been locked in our houses.
We have, 2020. Well, you're actually joining me on the final episode of Creative Cuppa for 2020. So basically rounding up season 1 of Creative Cuppa.
Excellent. So this is why we're not having a cuppa.
Ah, yes, yeah.
We're having a celebration.
I'll have to, we can't physically clink, so I'll have to put the sound effect in. So you'll have to listen.
Yes. Cheers.
Cheers. There we go. What are you drinking there?
Vodka, lime and soda.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I've got a lemonade because I'm teetotal.
You gone teetotal on me, Gareth?
No, it's red wine.
Good Lord. Don't scare me like that.
So, let's see. I'm not sure if listeners will remember this, but last year there was an advert for, I think it was Purple Bricks.
Oh, yes.
It's the estate agents. And there was a guy in the hairdresser getting his hair cut, and the woman cutting his hair was distracted and looking out the window. It's part of the advert. And shaved right through the middle of the guy's head. And he had quite long hair. And that guy was you. It
was indeed, yeah. Now, reverse mohican.
Yeah. Now, that seemed to me to be a one-take shot. Because, I mean, you actually had long... It wasn't a wig or anything. You actually had long hair.
No, it was my hair. It was my on my head, and they shaved it. I then had to shave my head entirely before I left so that I could go home.
Oh, did they just leave it afterwards?
Well, yeah. Once the crew was packing down, the makeup guy, he actually shaved the rest of my head. But, of course, you saw in that I had a beard as well. Yeah. So I went home with a shaven head and a big beard. So I looked... quite threatening to people on the tube, I think.
Fantastic. So, you've featured in many, many productions over the years, feature films, short films, ads, theatre. Do you have a preference or do you like the variety?
I like to have the mix, and I do enjoy having variety, just as a sort of a basic... So theatre's where I get the buzz, because you've got a live audience, you get an instantaneous reaction, you can feel the tension in the room.
Yeah.
That the audience is feeling as well, and you don't get that with TV or film. I mean, you can create the tension in the scene with the other actors, and perhaps the crew are feeling it, and there's a bit of tension on set, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
Quite bluntly, there's not a lot of money in theatre. Right. So to be financially stable as an actor, you need TV and film in the mix as well. And I do enjoy that medium, and it's less time consuming.
Yeah.
Because with a theatre show, you'll do a couple of weeks rehearsal and then you'll do a run. And with a day job, that's quite difficult. Whereas with TV and film, you go on a set, you might rehearse a couple of times. You could do a standard about 3 takes, but sometimes it'll be more than that. And then it's in the can and it's done.
Yeah.
And it's captured and that's it. You don't have to do that bit again. It's then down to the editor to stitch together with the rest of it and create the whole piece.
Yeah.
So it's less time consuming, and of course more people get to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I suppose now, I mean, you're saying there's not much money in theatre, certainly not at the moment.
Without a shadow of a doubt, yeah.
But it's been really interesting the creative ways that organisations have been bouncing back in terms of live streaming from venues and things like that. It's the same with music gigs. And that's really interesting. And I suppose it's a kind of a weird positive, if there can be one, from being forced into a situation like 2020.
Yes, I mean, the more and more people are doing it now. I mean, the National Theatre was starting to record shows anyway and have a library of stuff that they could send out or send links to for schools, for instance, and stuff like that. So there was already, that was already beginning, but the pandemic has meant that lots more people have jumped on that as an idea, because then they can still have a show going on, still try and generate some revenue, because we need to keep the theatres going. We need to keep them open.
Oh, for sure. From the audience's point of view, there's something about the being in the same room and that human contact that we all need, really, don't we?
We do, yes. And being able to sit in, going to the cinema, sitting in the theatre, being in with a whole group of people, experience the same thing at the same time, and that room full of emotion is part of our human connectivity.
Yeah. So I asked you about the if you have a preferred medium, but do you have a preferred genre? You've played some very serious characters over the years, but I think you've got great comedy timing, a little raised eyebrow or a look.
Yeah, I've done some comedy stuff and it can be good fun. But I think that my speciality, if you like, is horror thrillers, sci-fi thrillers, that kind of thing.
Is that what you really love to do?
I think that's how people see me more than anything else. And it's where I get cast more than anything else. Right, yeah. I'm capable of a much broader spectrum, but I'll just take the work.
Yeah. Well, yes. I mean, it's how it works as well, isn't it? You get known because of something and then get cast in a similar type thing.
There's a weird difference between us and the States, where here we call it typecasting, which seems to be quite negative in its connotations, whereas in America, they call it your speciality.
Ah, very good.
Which is very much more positive and upbeat.
Yeah, how it should be. I recently saw a short film of yours called Working Title.
Ah, yeah.
And it's really clever, and I won't spoil it for people. There'll be a link in the show notes to go and watch it, and I urge people to do that.
Excellent.
Came out earlier this year.
Yeah, it was September. We filmed it in September.
God, was that recently? Wow.
Yeah, it was.
It seems like years ago now, doesn't it, September?
I know. The time this year has been really weird, hasn't it? Yeah. But we filmed it in September, and it was for a competition, My Roadie Reel. Sorry if that's advertising, but that was the competition. Okay. And so they had, I think it was 2 weeks to film, edit, colour, sound, everything, and enter. I'm not sure how they did. That'll be something that's worth looking up, really. Yeah. But very professional, young crew. The director was 23, and all of his crew, his DOP and the sound guys, were all in their 20s. They were all very young. I mean, the producer, he was 22, 23 as well, but he looked 16. Yeah. But they did an amazing job. I had such great fun doing it as well.
It looks amazing. Yeah. The quality of the production.
Yeah.
It bounces along really well. The pacing's really good. The idea is fantastic.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
And what would you call it? The payoff, I suppose, at the end is brilliant. Is brilliant. Yeah, really enjoyed that. And I urge people to go and watch that. Link in the show notes. So you don't just go out jobbing as an actor, do you? You've been busy on your own. What's coming up for you?
Yes, in the modern day, you can't just be an actor anymore. You've got to start doing extra stuff as well, like producing. And I've got 2 business partners, Jake Francis and Ellie Torres. And we formed a company called Tripod Productions, which is here on
yes,
the sweatshirt.
You've got the amazing Zoom backdrop of the logo and the sweatshirt, yeah.
And we've started producing stuff. We produced one short film called Plenty of Dishes. That went out on the festival circuit. That's a precursor to a TV series, which we're trying to get off the ground. And we've got basic outline for 50 episodes.
Wow.
We've got some basic outlines in various stages of development for another 4 feature films. And we're also hoping that in the new year, just coming up what we're working at the moment, because it's all COVID dependent, of course, is that we'll be shooting a short film called Milo. That's its current title, which has been written by an actress called Jennifer Preston, who's a good friend of ours, and she will be playing the lead. And we're also bringing on board another trio of actresses turned producers, the Creative Lions.
Oh, fantastic.
And then we're going to do, it's a joint venture. That short film working title that you saw, the DOP from that, I have actually approached to see if he's available to shoot this short film for us. That's how impressed I was.
And that's how it works. That's how the industry works,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Very much so. You meet someone and you like their work. It's just like, I want to work with you again.
Yeah. And it's not just about the work, it's about them as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Being able to get on the set and having a good atmosphere. So, yeah, that's all hopefully coming together. We kind of plan on shooting about the end of January, beginning of February. As I said, COVID dependent, because Ellie now lives in the States.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. She married an American, G.I. Joe.
No relation.
She lives, no relation. And she lives in Annapolis, but she's always back and forth. And it also gives us as a company in the States. So she's hoping to be able to fly back because she's going to direct it. I've got a small part in it. Jake's got a small part in it. But otherwise we'll be then crewing and helping out with that. And then Creative Lions will come on board. Tolu is one. She'll be taking a small role as well. And then Jess and Kieran will be doing assistant director and producer and covering all the other bases.
Amazing.
Yeah.
One thing I completely forgot to ask at the start was, what inspired you to become an actor?
Well, when I was at primary school, we had to do, in my last year of primary school, I had to do this school play, and I hated it. And then I went to senior school, and I did drama in the first year there, but wasn't really inspired. And then I swapped drama teachers in the second year, and suddenly everything changed. I started to feel inspired. My drama in classes went through the roof. I found out later that what clocked me and was inspired by me and what I was doing, and made sure that she pushed me and helped me develop. Then I started to get involved with school plays until my school only went up to fifth form. And so fifth form, I took the lead in the school production that year, The Importance of Being Earnest. And I found that I loved it and I couldn't get enough of it. Then I was finding out through those sort of teenage years as well that my mum had been on stage and my gran had been on stage. So it seems to be in the blood.
It seems to be in the blood. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And then I gave up for a while. So I went on to further education college. I did A-level theatre arts.
Yeah.
And then I just started living real life. I didn't go on to drama school from there. But after a couple of years, I realised that there was something missing from my life. And then it twigged what it was. And I came back to it and I had to pursue it and go professional.
And you haven't looked back.
I haven't, no. It's been a few years now.
So, where can people find you online, and where can they find Tripod? And
Tripod, we've got a website, tripod-productions.com. There's a new thing out called V-Show Cards.
Ah, yes.
The V-Show Cards is a profile thing. It's mostly used in the industry, but it has all my links on it. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do have the social media presence because I have to these days.
Yes, it's free marketing, isn't it? Free
Yeah.
PR. Well, if I point people towards your V card, they can probably find links to most of those things.
Oh yeah.
So that is fantastic. Joe, it's been so nice catching up. I hope your vodka and tonic is going down nicely. Your vodka and lime.
Yeah,
vodka lime
and
is totally wrong. But for now, thanks very much for joining me for a cuppa.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, Gareth. It's great to see you.
Sorry, thanks very much for joining me for something stronger than a cuppa.
Yes, and a Christmas special.
Exactly. Thanks again to Joe for that, and do go and watch that working title short film. It's really good. All of Joe's links are in the show notes for your perusal. Also in the show notes are links to the Creative Cuppa Facebook group and all of the social media links. I held a mug raffle on Friday for a Creative Cuppa mug, which was won by one Lisa Faulkner, who I'm sure is still getting over the shock. Congratulations, Lisa. That's on its way. May it give you many happy Creative Cuppas. Please, please, please join me again in January for Season 2. I already have some chats lined up, so hit subscribe in your podcast app if you haven't already. And if you haven't got me a present yet, a 5-star rating and review or a tweet or a like will do just fine. Thank you very much. Whatever you're doing over the next few weeks, do stay safe, do have fun, and do switch off. I think we all need that. But for now, thanks for joining me for a cuppa.